got another 20 minutes. Like, oh shit. How you doing, brother? Finally, nice to see you. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you. My name is Kennedy, by the way. And my sound is going coming in
Kennedy, nice
through.
to meet you.
Okay, is my sound okay?
Your sound, you're good. You're good. It just there's like a sometimes a small little lag here and there, but like so far it's good.
Okay. Your
Sweet.
sound is coming at me fine. So yeah, there's no lag on your end.
Okay.
So I guess we'll make do. We'll make do. I'm not gonna keep you too long, brother. It's funny how social media works. I've been watching your videos. My sister sent me your videos. Your message is essentially very, very, very similar to mine. I was born in Djibouti, by the way. You're in Kenya, I presume. You're in Kenya, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm in Kenya.
Yeah, so I got your videos. I saw your videos, and I thought that was amazing. What you're talking about. So I wanted to get to know you, and I think we're on the same trajectory. We're here to awaken our African people. That's I think we're on the same wavelength on that end. But tell me a bit about yourself, bro. I'll tell you about me. I was born in Djibouti. I was born in Djibouti, but I came to Canada when I was 9. I grew up in Canada, so this is where I live now. I'm a father of two. I kind of looked at my people, and I saw that we were being misled. I had many conversations with my family, saying we're not Arabs and it's okay to not be Arabs because of the religion they felt like they were. They felt like they wanted to be, rather, not that they necessarily were, but they wanted to be. So they wanted to try to be Arab so much. So essentially, what I did is because I know my people are very spiritual, so I did and I even wrote a book, and I'll send that to you as well. Now that I have your contacts, but I basically wrote a book about the ancient spirituality of the Kushitic people, which is Wakia, Ebiwak. So that's why this comes up. I kind of made a play on word, which is wake up, which is wake up. You know what I mean? Essentially, so because I want my people to wake up from this slumber that they're in, and I think when I saw your videos, it's kind of like you were speaking through me, and so I was like, when you see another African speaking your language, you're like, finally, we're not all asleep, and that really made me feel good, bro. And so I want to say thank you for what you're doing. Thank you, keep doing it because you're good at it. And I laugh hard, and I share your videos all the time, because you make the points I want to make, and you make it with a lot of humor, which I really appreciate. So yeah, you know what I mean. So I really appreciate that. So tell me a bit about yourself, bro, and I'll let you have the mic for a little bit.
Thanks so much for that, bro. Like, yeah, it's crazy how social media works. Like, we connected through this, message, like, exactly something you have on your mind, and then you scroll, and then you see me talking, and you're like, yo, this is exactly what I've been talking about. Like, there's so many other people who are like me who have had this thought, So, like, that's so awesome. I really appreciate you for being engaged, and I appreciate the feedback. And look, I'll start it off the way even the story started. I remember, like, I'll never forget this. I was walking upstairs into like where my room is, and my dad was like, "Hey, he was like, he said my name. This is when I used to have my European name. So I used to have a European name, right? And then
Mhm.
he was like, he was like, why do we have the names of our colonials? And it was like I froze, and then I was like, he's right. Why the fuck do I have a French name? And then it's like I got a time machine, and I'm like, all those moments people would ask me about my name, I would always take pride in having a French name. It's like I was taking pride in. I'm like, oh yeah, Yves Saint Laurent. So I was like, my brain froze. I'm like, he's right. Why the fuck would I have a French name? It doesn't make sense. Look at my beautiful black skin. Why do I have a French name?
Right.
So when he said that, I was like, you're right. And he was like, I'm removing my name. And then like, I didn't argue, I didn't like try to defend having, I just like, his like, it's an open and shut case. So that's when this whole thing started, like, really. And I've been someone who, so I've played football all my life. I've known my family background, but like, one thing us Africans always miss is our identity. When I was younger, I always wanted to be like my white friends. I used to be around Greek kids all the time. You know, I used to be in it, used like all Greek kids, and I used to see the Greeks. They're very proud of who they are, bro. You meet a Greek person, they're proud of
Yep.
being Greek. So they're so proud because we don't have our identity, and I'm the only kind of black person. I want to be kind of Greek, so we always don't have this identity. It's crazy how you said about your family, how like on the Arab side, it's like they want to be Arab. Like so many of these Somalians and Africans, what, like, bro, how can you want to be like another, like it's but it's not our fault. Like they've just conditioned you like that. Like you imagine a man that wants to be Arab. That's crazy. So
It's
anyway,
crazy.
yeah, just yeah,
That's good.
that's kind of what this is about. Mhm.
That's amazing, man, and I love your passion. So I'll be honest with you, Sugira. I myself as well. I had an Arabic name, um, and Kennedy is a Somali name, and there's a meaning behind the word Kennedy.
Mm.
The name Kennedy. Kennedy literally means, because we're Somalis are camel herders, right? So camels, when you want to domesticate a camel, you put something around their mouth to kind of like domesticate it, right? That thing is called the kenna, right? And deed is like a refusal. So essentially, what it means is refuser of chains. I don't want to be managed by someone else's identity. I'll have my own identity. So I want to be Somali. That's who I am. That's my blood. I have it tatted on my freaking arm, right? So just to make people remember, no, 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 no. I won't be proud of anyone else but who I actually am. As a matter of fact, later on, and that's when we're done the stream, I'm going to see a movie with my son. I'm gonna go see the movie The Odyssey. Is what I'm gonna go see. One of my favorite actresses, who happens to be Kenyan, Lupita, is playing
Mhm.
Helen of Troy, right? And it's just interesting that you're just talking about the Greeks and how proud they are of their history. And now, and me and my son, we had this long conversation about. I'm like, Lupita is beautiful, but she's not Greek. So essentially, what is it? What does it mean? Why would I let a Greek person play a Somali role? And why do we have to? Why can't we not be? Because Lupita in Wakanda Forever, I get that. I get it. I understand it. We're like it makes sense. Lupita as Helen of Troy. I don't know. I mean, it's a conversation to be had. So it's very interesting that you mentioned the Greek while you're in Kenya. So I made me think of Lupita and the Odyssey that I'm going to be going to see a little bit later. And that's one thing that we've been told as Africans is to always look to others to identify who we are, to actually get some sort of source of pride. We have to look at the others. Whether, and I always say, my people have been colonized twice, right? The French colonized our lands, or the English and the Italians, and the Arabs colonized our psyche. So we've been colonized twice. So when you're deconstructing, I have no problem saying screw France, screw England, screw Italy for what they've done to my people, right? I have no problem saying that. Why can't I not say the same thing about the Arabs and what they've done, to the psyche of my people? Because now you have Somalis walking around thinking, cosplaying Arabic. They're cosplaying being an Arab. They'll give their kids Arabic names, and to me, I swear, and I feel that your passion, because it's kind of like I live in a twilight zone. It's like, what are we doing? Why can't we not wake up? Why are we so asleep, right? And so I've gotten tired of it. So when I came across your content, and just a great story that you had told about Mansa Musa, which is a man that they bring up as the pride of Islam, right? And I'm like, that man is African. Why are you taking his Africanness away and giving him up to Islam? Like as if Islam had anything to do with all the riches that he had done and anything that he just took on Islam, right? And so I liked when you were talking about how Islam coming into the African continent would actually go with the elites and it would trickle down. And I was hoping you can kind of go over that again on this video.
Mhm. So go over which part, how Islam entered into Africa.
That's correct. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and I'll just and just quick, you also mentioned your son, and I'm so proud that you've got a Somalian, name, name from where you're from. Even like I spoke to a Greek my mother would tell me what my Greek name meant, Dimi. It's a, he would tell me it's a general leader from the Greek. So you see how like these other cultures, they've been told what their names mean, and they, you know,
I think we're having a little bit of technical issues. I got you back.
yeah,
I got you
yeah.
back. I got you back.
Okay. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, so moving on to the way Islam entered Africa. So yes, see, Islam entered Africa through trade, and exactly what you said earlier. Like they more colonized through the mind, right? So it's not so much physical, but yes, more through the, like, they really colonized through the mind, and they did it through trade, because back in those days, it was like being part of EU was being part of an organization. So Somalia and all these different countries, the Arabs came there through trade, and so they saw the opportunity. Say, wait a minute, if we can have these people to become Muslim, that's quite powerful. The leaders, though, our leaders also, basically sold us, right? They were like, okay, because this allows us to do business. It made put more money into their pockets and the economy,
Right.
but in doing that, they kind of, yes, sold us for Islam. And so by you now selling us Islam, what do? They teach the children. Once you teach the children, bro, it's game over.
It's
So
game
like
over.
my thing is like, bro, I don't blame the English, I don't blame the French, the Arabs, bro. It's like, if in this life, if you're weak, it's like a game. If we're playing chess, nigga, if you, sorry, can I swear?
It's all good. Yeah, go for it. Go for it, bro. It's all good.
Okay. um
Yeah, speak freely, bro. Speak
like
freely.
it. If this is a game, I'm trying to win the fucking game, bro. The Arabs, the English, that's what they were trying to do. English tried to colonize the Arabs. If the England won colonizing the Arabs, there'd be Arab people named. I think there isn't even some small Arabs named with English names. The ones who are not Muslim. I think there's some Egyptians I've met who are named my.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? This was all a game of like the conquerors. So yeah, again, the way Islam came in through Africa was through trade. I know there was a sub-Saharan slave trade. They conquered North Africa, but again, if they teach it to the people, the kids, bro, like I said, as I said, people will attack me. I get abuse. I get some death threats on Instagram just because I'm just telling Africans, like, bro, like, why are you proud to have an Arab name? Why are you proud to have a European name? Like, that's like them will never ever have your name, bro. Bro, and that's what I and this is what I see with the Arab community more. Like, what, this is the argument they try to say, oh, it's the white people who colonized you guys. It's the white people who did this. Arabs, no, we chose it. This is what I realized. And like an Arab person, you see, okay, let me give it a story. So if I go to a white person and I say, hey, I changed my name, a white person will be like, usually, because they don't really care much about Christianity. White people know that shit's bullshit a long time ago. So like, if I was to tell a white person, hey, I changed my name from my white name to my African name, they'll be like, oh, that's pretty cool. Now you go, if you now the majority of what I see from the Arab people is, oh no, you should have your Arabic name. This is why you have the name. They want you to keep their name. If that means he hates you more than that white person, if an Arab person is convincing you to keep his name, he hates you. He's in the mosque with you, praying with you, but he sees you as a slave. That's why there's no you. A lot of these Arab shorties, these Arab, and they're fine. A lot of them, they love black guys. They love them. But you try go and date, go try. The dads will never allow that to happen because they see you as a slave, bro. How can you? I'm not gonna let a slave marry my daughter. This guy's coming into my house with my name, and come on.
Nah,
See, and that's
nah.
where we lose. We lose.
That is actually that's actually a very very good point because I was looking at how Arabs feel, and a lot of times when I'm having these conversations, because I'm talking to Somali people specifically and other Africans, and and it's just cringe when I see my African American brothers and sisters, trying to speak Arabic. It's just cringe to me. But I speak to them too. But what
Trust.
I'm saying, it's cringe as hell, man. Well, but to me, when I'm speaking to them, and I'll see Arabs saying, "Oh, Arabs calling me Uncle Tom, calling me sellouts," and I'm asking, what exactly have I sold out? What is it that I have sold out? Like, what you're saying is you did not stay in your lane, slave, is what you're actually saying. What you're telling me is that how dare you revolt? You are nothing but a abid. So why don't you stay in your lane and just accept any kind of deals that we are giving you. The second you don't do that, now they're good. Because the thing is, and I'm not sure if your background is Muslim. I'm an ex-Muslim. I left the what I see as a cult of Islam. I left it simply because I saw it for what it was. What it was is conquest. It's internal conquest. And essentially, what I told them is, I don't identify myself. I call myself a Somali revert, right? Because I say I reverted back to who I truly was, which is my African spirituality. That's who I am before these foreign ideologies came messing with my people's minds. The funny thing is, most of the people that are going to come and give me death threats, give me all of these threats, are going to be Somali people that are still in that sunken
Yeah.
place, that are still, I don't know if you've seen that movie Get Out. When they go into that sunken
Hmm.
place. I don't know if you know that movie, but that's how I say it. Like, I'm like, you're in that sunken place, so you can't really see me, a liberated Somali, and feel that it's okay. You feel like what I'm doing is wrong because you're in the sunken place. You have basically succumbed to your position as being the abid, or the slave, right? You're okay with that. And I asked, and the question that I ask on my TikTok, because on my TikTok is where I'm most active, and I say that I'm a Somali revert. One question that I had asked was, imagine if there was a nuclear bomb that was coming to two cities, and you have the defense mechanism to only stop one of them, and one is going to Djibouti and the other one is going to Mecca. Which bomb would you stop? And it's funny to see people saying, "Oh, Mecca is the holy city. We can't." And I'm like, "Okay, so you're willing to destroy your own people? That's because that's where it gets you to, right? That's like you literally are gonna destroy your own lineage, your own people, your own blood. Because why? Someone told you that city is holy." I'm like, that's why I call it brainwashing. That's why I call it indoctrination at the upteen degree. So me leaving Islam, I actually, you know what I say? I say Islam left me because I just started saying all the bad things that I wasn't agreeing with, and people just told me, "Oh, you're not Muslim," and I'm like, "Oh, well, I guess I'm not then. I'm Somali." And essentially doing that whole journey, and in the book that I wrote, like, I'm talking about how to be a spiritual person, you don't need these Abrahamic religions. You don't like this is the Johnny come latelys. We're Africans. We're the ones that, god damn it, gave the world spirituality. Like, why are we now taking it from people that took it from us, repackaged it, and sold it back to us while taking our lands? So it doesn't make sense to me. So that's kind of my approach to things. It's kind of like, try to see who you are first, right? And so that's what I appreciated. But I want to talk about Sugira. I want to talk about your comedy. Are you a comedian? Is that your thing? Because I do a bit of stand up, by the way. I want to come full full disclosure. I do a bit of stand up comedy, but like, do you do stand up? Is that your thing? And I saw that you're also involved in Kenya and some in a lot of different things in the community. I want you to plug whatever it is that you want to plug. I want to just get to know you, brother.
Oh, appreciate that. So, what do you like? Am I actually funny? Like,
I
am I
find you
funny?
funny. Yeah. The thing is, because what you're saying is so heavy. What you're saying is the subject matter is so heavy, and the way you present it is so light, right? It's kind of like, and that's what I try to aim to do, because there's no need for Africans to be fighting each other over a foreign ideology. It doesn't make sense to me, right? So when you present it in that way, that's the African way. Is the Umbutu way. Like, I am because we are. Because I'm never gonna, forsake you because you're my African brother. But let's talk about this bullshit that we're going through. And that's kind of how I hear you. So it's very, I'm sure some people do, but it's hard. I feel like it would be hard to be mad at you. You know what I mean? That's how I feel.
I appreciate that. And like it's just even just to touch on what you were saying earlier, like when you come and realize, bro, religion is created by men. It's a business. Everything is a business. Everything is calculated. It's a business. It's a business, bro. These are all man-made things. Like you ask a Muslim person, you just say to them, just don't even argue and say, who wrote the Quran? Oh, it came from, and then you hear the stories. Oh, God came, and I'm like, so how do you know this happened? Oh, did it, so, and then if you just keep asking them questions, then it's like it's like Matrix NPC. It's like, so who wrote the Quran? They say God. I say, oh, so God came from the sky and he wrote down a book in Arabic. oh no, he did it. And then when they start to, then they get frozen and they, why are you asking all these questions? And then it's like they can't, you know, because it's like, it's crazy when you think about it. This is all being created by a man, bro. A man. Mecca, do you know how much Mecca generates the economy in Saudi Arabia every single year? That it has nothing to do with God, bro. Why is it Mecca in Africa? If of course they're gonna put it in the country where it's like it created. So yeah, like that whole religion thing. It's really interesting how it's really go on.
20 billion dollars a year, $20 billion
Yeah.
US a year is what Mecca gets, with the pilgrimage. And I was actually having a conversation with some Somalis, and I was like, look, we can't afford to give that. We give like, I think the Somalis, it's around 50 to 70 million a year that they just people just going to Hajj, going to Mecca. And I'm like, so do you think we can do something better with that 50 to 70 million dollars? Do you think we
Imagine.
can help out our kids that need an education? Do you think we can help out our roads? We have messed up roads. Do you think we can build a few schools and universities instead of 4,000 mosques at every square inch? Like, are we able to kind of transcend this? Because the thing is, for Arabs, it helps them when the whole world is Muslim, because then everybody's coming for pilgrimage. That's money, a lot of money, right? What does it do? And I was telling some Somali friend, I'm like, look, you're not part of this ummah. The ummah is fake. It's something that the ummah. I don't know if you know, but the ummah is what they call the
Mhm,
nation of Muslims, the nation of
mhm,
Islam. They call it the ummah. So they make it seem like there's this great Muslim nation, but that's not true. The Khaliji Arabs don't even like the Egyptian Arabs. Like, forget black people or anything like that. The Saudi is gonna look at the Egyptian and say, "How, he's not an Arab." You know what I mean? So the self hate and everything is rampant. There is no such thing as a ummah. None of that $20 billion comes back to Africa to help them out. Nothing. So essentially, what I'm saying is, why don't you actually go and do your own thing? So when I say like I'm a Somali revert, because I'm a spiritual guy, and there's nothing wrong with spirituality, as long as you understand that there's no such thing as a holy book. There's no such thing as a holy place. My holy place is where I was born, where my people are from. That's my holy place. That's where I'm gonna be taking my kids for pilgrimage to go see where their father was born. Like that, to me, that's the sense of pilgrimage. That's what it means, right?
mhm, mhm, mhm.
My message, I think, a lot like yours, is to awaken. So I want to talk solutions for the past. I'm not going to keep you too long, but I want to talk about
Mhm,
solutions.
mhm.
What do you think, based on what you're doing? And I think we can all agree that what you're doing is great. What is it? What is your point? What is the what is it that you're trying to reach? What are you trying to do?
Yeah, a great question. So yeah, which is the solution? So the solution is, if once we become aware of it, let's now empower everyone to take back our names. And people say, like, taking your name is not the end of the world. Like, you can still become a bum on the street and still have your African name, right? Or your, like it's but if we take back our identity, because if you look at all the nations across the world, England, look at all the nations, like all of these nations have their own names. All of them have their own names. So is it a coincidence the only continent of most people who don't have their own names is the one that's struggling the most? Is there something that we're missing here? I speak to Japanese people every single day. Kennedy, I've never met one Japanese person named Muhammad or named Michael or Ian.
Nope, nope. They're
Can you
proud
hear
of their
me?
own names. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Are we back?
Yes.
Yeah, I've never met a Japanese person with another man's name. They know who they are. They know their identity. Japan's one of the safest countries in the world. Why? Because, like, we see each other as gods. If you're a god and I'm a god, I'm not going to go and hurt you, am I? We all have an understanding of peace, harmony. So we need to have our identity. So the solution is, what about if we can just say, hey, okay, cool. There's religion. These people came from the outside to give us these things. let's empower our children by everyone having African names. Let's understand who we are. Where did our names come from? Our grandparents. Again, your name, all of our names, they come from our grandfather's side. From okay, what is the meaning of our name? So the solution would be, let's start to take back our names. Let's name our children African names. And I feel from there we can understand who we are. Once we understand who we are and our identity, then who can stop us, right? The only way to strip
Right.
people from who they are is to take away their identity. That's why they did it. That's why they did this. That's why the white man did it. That's why he has his name and we don't have our name. They did it for a specific reason. So now if we know that, why don't we just try it? Imagine every African, they're born, they name their child an African name, educate them the history, and I think from there we can move forward.
I think that's a brilliant idea, mainly because I had a thought similar to it a long time ago, where I said, "Do you know the Nigerian, the Boko Haram, when they took all those girls? Do you remember they had a campaign called Bring Back Our Girls? There was a hashtag Bring Back Our
Yes. What
Girls."
was that about? What was that
So
about?
because the Boko Haram, which is in Nigeria, the terrorist group in Nigeria, they kidnapped a whole bunch of like
Mhm,
Christian Nigerian girls, and they were making them Muslims and they were
mhm,
enslaving them and stuff like that. So there was this whole campaign called hashtag Bring Back Our Girls, which is to come get them back from Boko Haram, right? And I thought that was it's a noble cause, but I think the same thing is needed for our names. I think we should have a hashtag bring back our names, bring back our African names, because I think you are absolutely correct in saying that when you have your own name, you cannot be stopped. You are able to at least be who you are. At least you're gonna represent who exactly it is that you are. You don't need someone else. You don't need because when you have an Arabic name, I'm gonna speak from my side. Okay, when you have an Arabic name, and a lot of people, and this is what kills me a lot, is they'll say here, "Oh, everybody has a Somali friend named Abdi." Right? They'll say, "Oh, everybody has a Somali named Abdi." And I thought about that for a minute, and I'm like, Abdi literally means slave. So all these Somalis, and I mean, the Arabs, they'll say like Abdirrahman, Abdirrahim, Abdir whatever, Abdi Zaki, whatever it is, right? But Somalis are happy just calling themselves slave, Abdi. Abdi literally means my slave. That's what it literally means. So when I thought about it, I'm like, we are being enslaved in like 4K and we're not even doing anything. We're actually proud of it. Like, what's wrong with us? Like, we're actually good with this? Because when you ask a Somali person, they're gonna be telling you, "Oh, I'm not the slave of anybody except Allah," right? But that's the jigs. Like, there is no Allah. The Allah is the Arab. The Arab is the Allah. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no Allah to speak
mhm,
of. So essentially, what I'm seeing is a whole bunch of my people that are being enslaved and that are slaves for the Arab man, and they're kowtowing for the Arab man. So essentially, I think this would be a good. Are you typing, brother? Because your microphone is really good, so it's picking up your typing. I think. Are you typing? I'm not
Oh
sure.
no, no, no.
Okay.
I saw, like, as I'm
Oh,
talk, I got like this.
Ruby
Okay,
cube. Okay, Ruby cube.
it
Okay,
makes
okay.
my mind. Yeah. Go
Oh,
on.
yeah, yeah, that's good. Oh, that's the complicated one too.
Mhm.
Shit, can't even do the four by
Very
fours.
complicated.
But
Mhm,
yeah, so
mhm,
essentially, sorry. So essentially, what I saw is
mhm,
when you have your own name, because they're gonna tell you Abdi Muttalib was so and so, and in the war of Al Badr, he did this and you're like, nigga, that wasn't you. That wasn't you. That's not your story. Why are you taking someone else's story and make it in your own? Like, it has nothing to do with you. You were
imagine.
there in East Africa, going after your camels, chilling in the savannas of the sub-Saharan Africa. You had no idea what the war. These guys, these people fighting in Arabia, these were cousins. It has nothing to do with you. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. Why are you cosplaying this Arab role, right? So that's what I say. So I think I'm with you on that, and I think that's a great hashtag to start for us. would be bring back our names.
Mm,
Bring back our names, because
mm.
essentially a whole bunch of Africans are getting married. And I'm gonna tell you this. This broke my heart, bro. This really broke my heart. And well, I saw a video, and it was a Somali young couple, Somali, and they were getting married. Now the guy was dressed like a proper Khaliji. Like this guy had, he was dressed like he had oil money, and he didn't. But he was dressed like he was an Arab. He had the whole big thobe. He had the whole gear. He looked like he was from Saudi Arabia. He's a Somali guy. The girl was wearing the hijab, the abaya, the whole getup, and they had Arabic music as the entrance. The funny thing is, to me, I always go to the comments, because the comments is where people kind of tell you what they think. And I saw a lot of Arabs writing this. They wrote, "When people get married, they put on display their culture. Why are these Somalis taking my culture?" That broke my heart, because it showed me that my people were basically cosplaying for something that they were not. And the people whose culture they're cosplaying are not okay with it. They're not okay with it. They're like, "What the hell are you doing
Wait,
here?"
what was his comment?
The
What was
Arab,
that
so
full
there's
comment
an
he said?
the Arab
Mhm.
person commented. He said, "When people get married, they usually put on display their own culture. Why are these Somalis putting on display my culture?" And it was an Arab guy that commented that on a Somali couple getting married and dressing like Arabs.
Wow.
That, to me, that was so humiliating and so satisfying at the same time, if that makes sense. Because I'm like, he is right. Why are you trying to be something you are not? And so, to me, my goal is to decolonize the minds of my people, telling them you are not Arab. You are not Arab. And if it's God you're seeking, if it's spirituality you're seeking, you already had it. You already had this. Nobody had to tell us that the connection with the divine or the connection with the spiritual world. We already had this. We're Africans. It comes from us, as a matter of fact. The 10 commandments are found on the 42 laws of Ma'at on the walls of Egypt. Like, essentially, we have to wake up to the fact that we've been bamboozled. They took our stuff, because that's what happens to Africans oftentimes. We are such, like, innovative people, and our ideas are taken, and that's why Africa is called the motherland. What happens to the mother? Everything gets sucked out of the mother, right? The mother gets used, right? And that's what happened to Africa. They take all of our stuff. We wouldn't even be able to have, like, cell phones or anything like that if they didn't have the cobalt of Congo. We wouldn't have a whole bunch of, we wouldn't have chocolate if it wasn't for. I saw this documentary, bro, where these people went to Ivory Coast in Ghana, and they were making these kids chopping, like, the cocoa beans, and they gave them, like, a Swiss chocolate bar. These kids have never tasted chocolate like that, and they call it Swiss chocolate. There's no
Hmm.
such thing as Swiss chocolate. It's Ghanaian and Ivory Coast chocolate. But that's the thing they do to us all the time,
Hmm.
and religion is just another tool through which they do that. And so that's what I try to do, is kind of awaken them from that. So I like your idea of just bring back our name. It's a simple thing. It's such a simple thing, but it's a powerful thing.
Hmm. I love it. I love it, and that's why, like, it was interesting. Like the I was talking to the Japanese lady today, so I said to her, I was like, why didn't they like embrace Christianity and Islam in Japan? And it's funny. She said it just it didn't fit in our culture. So she said in Japan we have Shinto, like that's they have their
Yeah,
belief where they
Shintoism.
have this thing called
Mhm.
Shinto, which is like they have many gods in Shinto. Or can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. You're good. I can hear you.
We're
Can you
good.
see me? Yeah, yeah, we're good. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, good. Okay, so she was saying like in Japan they have this, they had Shinto, which is like they have many gods. That's why they also
Mhm.
embrace Buddhism and Christianity. So she was saying like in Japan they have this, they had Shinto, which is like they have many gods. That's why they also embrace Buddhism and Christianity.
I can't hear you. I lost you, bro. I lost you. Yeah, I lost you. I lost you there. Now I hear you.
Yeah.
Now you're back. Well, it's transcontinental, bro.
Yeah. Wait, what did you last
Yeah.
hear?
They have Buddhism and Shintoism in Japan. That was the last thing that I heard.
Oh, sorry. I think it's our Wi-Fi. My bad.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but the picture is frozen. But I can hear you. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I can
All right.
hear you. Oh, like
Uh,
you're up and you're back now. Can you?
yeah,
You
I
got
can hear
me? Are
you.
we back?
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. What did you last hear?
Buddhism, Shintoism in Japan. She said that she had Shintoism in
Yeah.
Japan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sh- yeah, Shintoism in Japan, right? So she said when Islam and Christianity came, it didn't fit our culture. What do I mean by that? Well, in Christianity, they came and said, "Oh, you're only allowed one God," and then Islam came, "Oh, you're only allowed one God." Arabic, so they were like, "It doesn't even fit our culture. We have many gods." So you're kind of trying to tell me how to pray. You're trying to tell me who my God is. So it's basically we're telling like that's how it's each man them have their own gods, right? So that's why you'll never find that in the Japan. So the point of that story is just going back to what you're saying, that like yes, like let's take back our own culture, bro. Like we're just going into other people, especially the Islam, we're going into someone else's culture. Again, Christianity, white people they don't really care about Christianity like that. They all know it's a business. Of course, black people are still the biggest consumers there, immigrants usually, but like we're just going into other people's culture. So what you said about that is so true. It's like that's why they don't respect you. Let me ask you, is there any Arabs named Abdi, or is that just Somalians? I've never seen an Arab
Only
person
Somali.
named Abdi,
No,
but I don't know,
Arabs
maybe
don't.
you know more. Only
Arabs don't call
Somalis.
each. They're only Somali. So Arabs will call themselves Abdi Rahman, Abdi Karim, Abdi something, right? But only Somalis will be like Abdi short.
But never Abdi.
Never Abdi. No, never. Because they know what it means. You know
You
what I'm
see,
saying? They know what it means.
they know.
So it's
Oh
like
my goodness.
there's portions of the
It's
Quran. Okay, so there's this ayah in the Quran, right? Yeah, it's ayah 12:2. It's Surah 12:2. So in the ayah, it says there in the Quran, it says, "We have revealed this Quran in Arabic so you may understand." We reveal, like, listen, we reveal apparently it's God speaking, right? We reveal this Quran in Arabic so you may understand. And I asked my Somali brothers and sisters, and I'm like, this you it's talking to, it ain't you though, right? Because we're Somali. We don't speak Arabic. How can you agree
mm,
now that Allah is not speaking to you? He's talking to some Arab people. Can you? It's literally in the Quran. It's literally in the holy book. So I'm sorry. I just can't dumb myself down like that. I can't do that. So to me, it's the cosplaying that gets to me, bro. It gets to me. And a lot of people when they hear me, they kind of be like, "Oh, Ken, it's all good, man. Why you gotta think too hard about these things? Stop thinking." That's what they'll say. Why are you wasting your time with this? Why don't you just live your life? And I'm like, I'm good. I'm living my life. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna let some Fasuzi Fasazi stop living my life. But part of my life is to awaken my African people because we've been asleep for way too long. The world is passing us by, and we Africa is the richest continent with the poorest people. Why?
because the mind.
Exactly because of our minds. And so if we don't free the
How
mind,
did
we're
how
done. Yeah.
how did your awakening happening? What was the story like? How, because I'm sure you grew up in Islam. How did your awakening
Yeah.
happen?
Well, first and foremost, I come from a family that are very, very like Sufism is a branch of Islam that is very more introspective, more spiritual realm. So a lot of Africans will take on Sufism because they can actually put in some of their culture within it. So I come from a family that were proud Somalis, right? So Somali feel was there. You're African. I come from that, right? And then, well, I think this was when I first entered the workplace space, and I had a friend of mine, Luke. He's a dude from New Brunswick here in Canada, and we were talking, and he basically told me, "Hey, man, why aren't you Christian?" And I laughed. I'm like, Christian. I'm like, why aren't you Muslim? So that started a whole conversation and debate. And I love this dude. Like he's a friend of mine, and we had a mutual respect. So I was basically telling him, "Why are you wasting your time with Christianity, man? Come to the right place, which is Islam." You know what I mean? And he was telling me, "No, Christianity's better." But what he did for me is that he forced me to read the scriptures. That's something you don't want to do. For all the Muslims out there, if you want to remain a Muslim, don't read the scriptures. Don't read them. Because once you start reading it, two things happen. Or actually three things. Either you double down and you become, a terrorist. Right? You like this is the reality, this is what I'm doing, whatever. And then you end up being like Al Shabaab or whatever. Or you become an apostate and you're like, hey, yo, this is too crazy. This ain't for me. And the third one, which is a lot of people, you become a hypocrite. You basically become okay with the cognitive dissonance. There's a cognitive dissonance that happens, and being living in that dissonance is because they feel, who am I to change anything that has been established for 1,000 years? Why would I be the person to change it? Right. So it's that self-talk that kind of dims down the light of people. Me, I just couldn't because I read the book. I read the book because every day I would get prepared to go and debate this Luke guy. This guy, I'm like, I'm gonna show this guy why Islam is the superior religion. I'm gonna show this guy why Islam is so peaceful and so better, so much better than Christianity. Uh-uh. What ended up happening is that I showed myself what Islam actually was, if that makes sense. And the only difference between me and someone else that read the scriptures is I had to look myself in the mirror and say, yo, Kennedy, are you going to lie to yourself or are you going to be for real? It's very simple because if I was to be in a cognitive dissonance, then it wouldn't have been congruent. That's not how I was made. I was raised with a lot of confidence. I was raised in a place in our household. Nothing was taboo. We can talk about anything and everything. So I thank my late father for that. You know what I mean? My mom. I mean, essentially, I came from. It was a good setting for me to be able to be awoken. Right? There's a lot of people that are just don't have that ability. So when I started talking about it online, a lot of young Somalis, older Somalis, a lot of Somalis came to me and say, "Oh my goodness, finally someone is talking. Someone is talking about it." So to me, my awakening happened with that, and and also happened throughout my life. I was just looking at a lot of these different things and customs, and I was just it wasn't jibing with me. It wasn't jibing with me. At one point, I was spiritual. I was the kind of guy that would read the Quran before going to bed when I was younger. You know what I mean? But after I looked and I read the scriptures, I just wasn't able to justify it. And I always say, once Islam for what it is, and you try to defend it, it's kind of like defending your drunk uncle at the family barbecue, right? You love the guy, but you know he's out of order. That's kind of how it feels like, you know what I mean? Or being an attorney for someone that you know is guilty. That's how it feels like to defend Islam. So essentially, I was not okay with the cognitive dissonance, and that's when I finally said, no, no, no. But it doesn't happen overnight, right? It does. It's a journey. So it's like it happens over a long time. And so when it happened, like this is like I'm talking about like few 10 years ago, 15 years ago now, actually. And I even went to Mecca.
Mm,
I went to Mecca and Medina
mm,
to kind of really kind of make myself like go into the place to be sure of this, right? When I went there, bro, from my hotel to the black cube there, it's called the Haram, the Kaaba. I would have to walk, but be like maybe a 10-minute walk, right? That whole line to from my hotel to going to the Kaaba. You know who was on the streets? West
hmm.
Africans. West African kids missing limbs, missing eyesight, missing something, all asking for money. It looked like a business the way it was done because it was just black women and black kids asking for money. And I'm like, why? Why are they here? Because that place is where people feel the most generous, right? So it's a great business to have, but then
Very
it's just
good.
it's enslavement by another name. It's just enslavement by just another name. And that's what I saw. And every day on my way to go pray at the Kaaba, I would see that. I would see this straight up. So, and I'm like, I came back from there even more confused, even more in a disarray. And finally, I just said, I can't. There's nothing for me to hold on to here. It's not my. It's not my history. It's not part of my history. It's not part of my culture, my actual culture. It's not part of my even my morals. It was against my morals. I was reading some things like the Prophet of Islam marrying a 6 year old, consummating the marriage when she's 9. I can't defend that. Like any way you slice it, I can't defend that. Either it's one of two things. Either he was a man of his time and that belongs at that time, right? Or you're gonna be a criminal in today's time, following his footsteps. These are the two choices. So I'm like, to me, it was like, no, 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 I can't do this. I can no longer defend this stuff. So that's kind of like the journey, in a nutshell.
Well, when you said like you read into it, like you were reading and you were like, what was some of like verses where you were like, wait a minute, that made you see some of the like, yeah, where you were like, wait a minute, yeah, what was some of the, was there anything at, and I'm gonna take one of the verses that you said that verse where it's like it was revealed in Arabic for you. I want, if you
Yeah,
can, I'll get that after this, but
absolutely.
uh,
That well,
yeah,
the, well,
what
that was
other
the
kind of
well, that
things did you
was one
see?
of them. That was
One
one
of
of
them.
them. It was it's
Mhm,
Surah 12, Surah Yusuf, Ayah
mhm,
2. So it's Surah 12, Ayah 2. So the chapter is 12. The verse is 2. So 2:12, 12:2, and it says, "We have revealed the Quran in Arabic so you may understand." And I'm like, that you is not me, man. Is that ain't talking to me? And another surah that talks about it is, I can't remember the quote, but it's a story in the Quran where the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad, had an adoptive son named Zayd. Okay, this was his adoptive son. His son grew up and he married a woman called Zainab, right? He married Zainab. One day, the Prophet went to Zayd's house, but he wasn't there. But he saw Zainab, the wife of his adoptive son, and she was half naked, and he kind of lusted after her to the point where his adoptive son divorced her so he can marry her. And I asked myself, I have sons. I got two sons. If they had anyone, right? If they were with a woman or whatever, would I be able to go with that woman after them? Like it's to me, it was just sickening. It was a sick, and to make that a holy thing, like to make it a something that is okay. I had to like I have to kind of shut down my reasoning, my I had to shut down a whole bunch of stuff in my head in order to make that okay. But you see people defending that stuff. So me, that story, and there's another story where the Benu Qurayza, when he went into a Jewish tribe and basically assassinated up to 900, 800, 900 of them, and he married the princess of that tribe and slept with her that same night. He had killed her father, her husband, and her brothers and her whole family, but slept with her that night. And Muslims will tell you, oh, but he was saving her, right? And kind of make the most atrocious thing into this benevolent thing, like into this good thing. My brain doesn't work like that. I just can't do that. I just cannot do that. And to me, when people do that, I question their sanity, because you have to have a lot of fear within you to be able to say that's okay. And I just was not able to do that. So that story, the story of Safiya, the story of Zayd and Zainab, the Quran coming down in Arabic, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Like if you read a lot of the surahs, Surah 929 will say, "Kill the unbelievers wherever you find them." It's basically a manual for military, and that's the reason why when you look into Islam, you understand it's not really a religion; it's for a military mindset. That's why
mm,
Jum'ah or Friday prayer, the men are obligated to be there, but the women, not really so much, because that was a way for Muhammad to count his army. That was a good way to know who apostated or committed treason. That's why apostasy to this day, it carries the sanction of death, because they see it as treason. Because it was all set up as a military. It was about conquest. It was about promising the military dudes who have not seen any women for, months and years, to say, when you die on the battlefield, there's 72 virgins waiting for you. There's nothing different than Valhalla in the Vikings. When the Vikings, they wanted to die. So if you're fighting with someone that wants to die, that's a tough. opponent, because you know what I mean. That's a crazy level of courage that you're giving them, because you're like, when you die,
Facts.
there's 72 virgins waiting for you up there. Like that is, what does a woman get when she's in paradise? Nobody tells you. But a man, you'll get 72 virgins when you go, because you have to
Facts.
get the military mind, and so when you
Mind.
see these things, you can't
Facts.
unsee them, brother. You know what I'm saying? You can't unsee this.
Facts, facts. That's such a good point. That's such a good point. Even that Japanese lady, she told me something. She was like, yeah, she goes, religion. She said, like, Japan, same thing. When Japan went to colonize and invade other countries, they used the Shinto religion as like, listen, the Japanese emperor is a Shinto. He's a Shinto god, and the Shinto god is telling you go to war for God, for your people, right? For
Yeah,
so that's what the Japanese went and did that. Then that's how they got bombed by the US, because they went to attack other people, and because they were on that thing of this is for your God. Exactly. You see, it's so
yeah.
Valhalla. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and I don't know why we don't see that. Even Genghis Khan, when he was basically massacring like throughout, history, when he was doing what he was doing, he basically said that, my God, I am sent. He was crazy, man. You know what he say? He would say, I was sent by God because you did something bad, so that I'm your punishment. Like, so to kind of go to the spiritual realm, to talk about worldly things, was what everybody was doing. Muhammad was a great commander. He was a commander. He had an army. He basically took he was kind of like Sin for China, who unified all of the different families under China, right? Under the Sin dynasty. That's what Muhammad did. Basically, you know, uh, he basically got all the different Arabic tribes into one, and so that tribal mentality has now been deified. That's basically what it is. If you look at Muslims now, they have this tribal mentality. They have this tribal thing all the time. Oh, I'm Muslim. Oh, my brother is, he's Muslim because, he's my brother because he's a Muslim. Oh, so the Ummah. And it's all fake because it only works for Arabs. I say Islam is for Arabs and it works so nicely for Arabs. That's why Arabs are chilling, bro. That's why Lil Wayne is going over to Saudi Arabia. That's why Nicki Minaj can shake her ass in Riyadh, in Saudi Arabia. That's the country of the Prophet Muhammad. And you have Nicki Minaj shaking her ass. You know why? Because Arabs can do whatever the fuck they want to do because that's their religion. And meanwhile, you got Somalis here, putting crazy veils on their women when that shouldn't be it. A men with a freaking big dot on their foreheads, like they have bacteria on their foreheads, thinking this is pious, thinking because they bought into this, to the story. They bought in. They think this is it. And I can't. There's a side of me that kind of like pities my people. You know what I mean? There's a side of me that pities my people,
I
but I
know.
try to stop that. And I say, because the same way I had to do that journey, everybody's gonna have to do that journey. So I try to
Yeah,
look out.
empathy,
Yeah.
empathy. Yeah, yeah. We like My dad says it all the time. He was like, I was once like them. In the Bible, the Bible, when Jesus dies on the cross, he goes, Father, forgive them. Father,
They know
forgive
not
them,
what
for
they
they
do.
do not know. Yeah, all these stories in the Bible, they're not real fucking literal events, bro. They're just like the way any man writes a great book. Like you know how many times, and that's actually proof that we are all gods, right? Look, there's so many books here. Like another man wrote this book, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's because
Yeah.
God lives within this person, and then all these thoughts came out in these pages. That's the
one
same
hundred
way it was
percent.
with the Bible and the Quran. They have great wisdom. They could have great, like, the Bible has great knowledge, and even if you look at the Bible, it's telling you that you are God. It's actually, the Bible even tells you that you're a God, bro.
Yeah.
So exactly, Father, forgive them, for they do not know their sins. Meaning is like, we have to have empathy. Like, yeah, like, we have to have empathy. I
There's no
love
other way to
your
do
the
it,
name
right?
of your.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no other
Mm,
way to do it. Yeah. My book that I wrote, essentially, that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is God, or the idea of God, I call it my most high. Okay. Because I'm Kennedy. I'm one guy. I fucked up a whole bunch of times in my life, bro. A whole bunch of times I fucked up, But I still persisted in getting better and getting better and getting better. Because once you have God consciousness, you can actually say, I'm trying to reach my most high. I have the lowest of me and I have the highest of me. So when I'm trying to reach my most high is when I'm trying to do things perfectly. Love will always be better than hate because it's easy to hate. It's very easy to hate. You know what I mean? So sometimes, even in these conversations, when I'm in these conversations, even though I'm like, is this person for real? I try to go and tap into the love that I have for my people. Because I say to myself, if they've never been shown this type of, conversation, so have the patience, have the serenity that they need to see what it is that you're preaching is going to come through you. So when they insult me, I always say, it's not you, it's your religion. I say, you're not really insulting me. You're just being pious. You know what I mean? You're being pious to the religion that you think is the right one. But what kind of divinity would make you insult your brother? What kind of divinity would make you want to unalive me or kill me? Like what kind of divine force, right, would make you do that? They say things like Allah's enemy. And I'm like, what kind of a God has enemies? You know,
I know, I know,
what kind of
I
God
know.
is, my boy, when he was slanging, he had enemies. But how is God having enemies? Like, he's the creator of all
God has
things.
enemies.
How is the source have enemies? That makes no sense. That's how you know what they really mean is Muhammad enemies, because Muhammad had an
Mm,
army. And so only an army can have an enemy, because I have to fight against you and conquer you, and you're trying to do the same to me. So that I understand. That's just man being men. But to kind of equate that to godliness, I can't do that. I can't do that. That's beyond
mm.
like what I can do. So essentially, empathy is what I kind of go back to. I do lose my temper sometimes, but for the most part, I try to stay serene. So
Mm.
yeah, bro. But look, bro, I think I've been chatting for an hour. I know I don't want to take too much, but I would love for us to discuss, a bit more online, and have you on Instagram. I don't know if you're on TikTok. Are you on TikTok?
Yeah. I was just
Okay.
about to say that. I think the next thing we can do, the next version of this we can do, let's go TikTok live, because TikTok live actually it heats up like like it's a very good thing.
It
Like I
does.
I like so yeah, I am on TikTok. I do be getting banned every now and then. So I can't stand. I know I need it because I'm a marketer. So like I need to be posting on
Right.
TikTok, but I can't. I can't stand TikTok.
TikTok is
But
crazy, but okay, let's do that. I would love
we
to.
can go
I would
live. We'll
love
go
my,
live. Mhm.
yeah. Well, I would love my audience to have to see you as well and to follow you. But yeah, man, I'm happy to have this conversation with you. But I'm not gonna leave you alone. And I think that thing that you said about bringing our names back, I think that's something that we should maybe on the TikTok live we kind of present it, because then
Hashtag.
we'll have an audience. Yeah, we'll have a hashtag, bring back
Mm.
our names. And I think that would be a small little thing that all Africans can do. You know what I mean? I'm tired of seeing a Muhammad that's that's coming from Nigeria. There's no Muhammads in
Imagine.
Nigeria. Be proud
Imagine.
of your actual who you actually are, and only when, and that's what it is, right? Because I've read a lot of hermetics, I've read a lot of different things like that, but what it all comes down to, bro, it's the big thing called the big theme or concept called know thyself. Know thyself. So me as Kennedy, when I get to know who I am, that's a way of getting to know divinity. And if we all do that, because Sugira is Sugira. That's how you say your name, right? Sugira.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sujira. Yeah. You said it right.
Sugira. Okay, You are me, and I am you, but differently. You know that whole Ubuntu I am because we are. I truly believe
Hmm.
that, because that's the only way this whole thing makes sense. That's the only way it makes sense, bro. So I think to know thyself is to know divinity, is to actually tap in to the great mystery of all. So we'll find a good day. Usually weekends are
We'll
good for you,
talk.
right? Yeah,
Yep.
we'll have some
Mhm.
time this coming weekend, and we'll have more of these, man. But I want to thank you. Thank you so much for everything you do. Keep doing those videos, man. Those are hilarious. Keep doing those videos, man. I appreciate you, and thank you for coming through, bro. And whatever you want to say
I
as closing.
appreciate you. I
Yeah,
appreciate you as well. Thank you so much, man. Like I said, this is the great thing about social media. Also, like I am here in Kenya. I help people like invest here in Kenya, like rental units. So a lot of people, they're tired of just relying on their 9 to 5 job. So it's like they want to set something that can be creating a revenue stream towards financial freedom. Bring Some people want to retire 20 years, they can bring that retirement within 5 years, 6 years by investing here, because our money goes further here. So yeah, if you people can follow me
I'm
on my pages.
that's that's amazing. That's an amazing plug because I'm a mortgage broker. I here in
Mhm.
Canada, I'm a mortgage broker. So the real estate, I've
Ah,
been looking at Rwanda, but Kenya probably, and I have someone now that I can talk to directly. So definitely, I'm going to talk to you about that as well, bro. So because we
yeah,
got to
yeah, you're
grow.
a mortgage, you get it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's it, bro. Thank you so much,
Cool.
Ajira. And once again, thank you so much, bro. We'll talk again.
All right, no worries, we'll talk.
Peace.
Thanks, bye.
Peace.
Peace. That was dope.
That was Sugira, my friend that I met online, and amazing, amazing, amazing person that I wanted to kind of talk to today. So I want to say we have to have more of these conversations between Africans, and we have to kind of keep growing. So until next time, Somalinimo till Peace.